The New York Rangers have the best record in the NHL after outlasting the Boston Bruins 7-4 for a hard-earned victory in a heavyweight matchup. They also defeat the Flyers 3-1, and we're breaking down both games on today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers.
You're Locked On the New York Rangers, your daily podcast on the New York Rangers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, Blueshirts fans, to episode number 948 of the Locked On New York Rangers podcast. I'm your host, John Chick. Just want to thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. And today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On NHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. So, obviously, a lot of fun past couple of days for the Rangers here, the past 48 hours or so. A couple of seemingly random back-to-back afternoon games. I was joking around on Twitter, and a couple of you guys saw this, where, you know, the Rangers playing two back-to-back 1 p.m. games combined with Thanksgiving, combined for the fact that I think a lot of us are off or mostly off for 4 straight days. I'm watching this game at 1 p.m. today, and I have, like, no idea what day it is, what I'm supposed to be doing, or what the situation might be. But fortunately, that was not the case for the Rangers. The Rangers were on top of their game for both these afternoon starts, and they wind up going 2-0, beating the Bruins after first beating the Flyers the day prior. So I wanted to talk about, because, you know, this Ranger-Bruins game, and we got a lot to do today. We got 2 games to cover, so it's going to be a lot of fun. They were both wins, obviously. But we're not going to go, like, you know, play-by-play. Obviously, we don't really do that anyway. But I want to talk about what I thought was the biggest sequence of this Ranger win against the Boston Bruins. And we will get to that. But I thought it was interesting because this is a similar thought that I tend to have in situations like this. The Rangers are going through a stretch right now where they're playing 4 games in 6 days, including right now, this is their 3rd game in 4 days, and it's the second end of a back-to-back. But that part of it is also true of the Boston Bruins. And Peter Laviolette was asked about this prior to the start of the game, and he said he liked it because, you know, obviously it just puts everybody on a even playing field, rather. And, you know, nobody has any excuses or anything along those lines. And those are my sentiments exactly. You know, obviously, look, both these teams have been kind of grinding lately, but the Rangers are playing better than the Bruins right now, and obviously beat them in this game. But obviously, Rangers passing this test with flying colors. I really thought this was going to be a very difficult stretch of the schedule. You know, you're playing the Devils, and you're playing the Penguins, and you're playing the Flyers, who've been better than I think a lot of people thought they were going to be. And, you know, now today you play the Bruins, the only team that was ahead of you in the Eastern Conference, but the Bruins no longer ahead of the Rangers. They are now tied in terms of points. I believe both now have 31, but the Rangers have the better winning percentage. So that's awesome to see. And, yeah, again, to set up the key sequence of this game, we got to acknowledge the Rangers going up 2-0 fairly early in this game. And that's another thing. The Rangers continue to play excellent hockey right from the opening faceoff. It feels like the Rangers are really getting off to strong starts this season. That was obviously the case in this one against the Bruins. It was the case the day prior against the Flyers. You know, the Penguins had a little bit of an edge for 3 or 4 minutes, and the Rangers took it right back away from them. So, yeah, just a couple of examples. But the Rangers really getting off to good starts this year, which, as we know, was an issue at times last season. But to discuss the start of this game, obviously the Rangers go up 2-0 on a goal by Nick Bonino. It's an unassisted goal, his first of the season, so big congratulations to Bonino. I don't think there's too many Rangers that deserved a goal more than him. This guy just goes out there, gives you a blue-collar effort every single night. But we also need to shout out Capo Caco and Will Cooley on this play. Neither one get credited with an official assist, but both were applying pressure. The puck was on Boston's side of the ice, and they kind of forced them into a turnover. Cooley especially, because, you know, Cooley was putting some pressure on this guy, made some contact with him. The puck was loose. Bonino picks up the puck, moving away from the Boston net, but he turns to his left, fires it toward the net, and scores and goes up, or puts the Rangers up 1-0 at that point. Then the Rangers make it 2-0. You've got Panarin dancing, gets the puck to Eric Gustafsson. Gustafsson to the center of the ice, takes a shot, goes off Trocheck. Then it's the save is made, and then Kreider buries the rebound. Boston comes back and ties it at 2 goals apiece. But then, obviously, the Rangers go back up on top on a shorthanded goal by Chris Kreider. And then David Pastrnak scores at the beginning of the second period. So it's 3-3. It's already been a crazy game. We've already seen both teams use their timeouts. Going to talk more about that pretty unique situation in a little bit here. But the sequence that I've been talking about here, that I've kind of been building to basically since I hit record a couple of minutes ago here. But this is awesome. This is when the Rangers really took control of this game. And yeah, the Bruins, got to give them credit. They came back a couple of times, but this is when the Rangers really kind of, again, took control of the game, and they were on top for good after this. And it just kind of had that feel that once this all happened, they were going to be, well on their way. And this sequence I'm talking about begins with a penalty against the Bruins. It is a very, very long delayed penalty. I'm going to take Joe Micheletti's word for this because I was not timing, but per Joe Micheletti, he said that the Rangers, once this penalty was called, the Rangers held the puck for 50 straight seconds. That's a solid thing to do, even if you don't end up scoring, because obviously you're tiring their guys out. Maybe some of those guys will be involved in the penalty kill, and now they're all kind of gasping for air once the play ends. But bottom line is the Rangers had the puck for 50 seconds, and they end up scoring. Basically what happens here is Jimmy Vesey takes a high stick, and this was set to be a double minor. They were going to get them for 4 minutes. More on that in a second as well. But Vesey gets the puck in the corner, skates into the crease, and tries to kind of just stuff it home, a stuff-in try from the doorstep there. He's not able to do it. But then you've got Tyler Pitlick recovering the puck behind the net. He plays it back up the boards on the left side to Zach Jones. Jones moves the puck to his right to Braden Schneider. Schneider passes right to Panarin. And then Panarin back across the ice on the other side to Vincent Trocheck. Trocheck with a wrist shot. Save is made. Jimmy Vesey buries the rebound. This happened with 3:23 to go in the second period here. Put the Rangers up on top for good at 4-3. And you also, there's a lot to break down here. For starters, just a great blue-collar goal by Jimmy Vesey, who's really played well for this team recently. I just love what he brings to the rink every single night. And what a badass goal this turned out to be, because Vesey takes a high stick to the face and is bleeding and continues his shift and comes very close to scoring when he, drove to the net from the corner to the front of the net, and then ends up scoring a little bit later on the stuff-in try. That's about as cool as it gets. Jimmy Vesey obviously stuck with it throughout this shift, and the Rangers go up 4-3. Also, think about the 6 players that were on the ice here for the Rangers. You had Panarin, Trocheck, Vesey, Pitlick, Jones, and Schneider. It's almost like somebody hit the shuffle button. I don't think we're going to see a situation where we see those 6 players on the ice together again this season. I mean, to begin with, there would have to be a delayed penalty, so I'm not really expecting that. But yeah, everybody had a hand in this, man. Everybody kind of contributed to this. Everybody at least made a pass or kept the play alive one way or another, didn't allow the Bruins to touch the puck. And obviously the Rangers scored, and just a huge moment in the game. Once again, Vesey was bleeding here, so it was going to be a double minor. Instead, because the Rangers scored, it's only a 2-minute penalty against the Bruins. The Rangers are unable to convert there. But then at the end of the second period, they do indeed score again, boost their lead to 5-3, which is 23 seconds to go. Another situation where pretty much everybody on the ice contributed. A lot of guys, had a hand in this. You got Trouba behind the Ranger net. He's being pressured. There's a forechecker there from Boston, so he moves it up the boards on the left side to Kreider. Kreider then gets it back to Trouba, and then Trouba passes out the other side of the net to K'Andre Miller. And then K'Andre Miller makes a great pass, excellent pass by Miller here, from his own zone across the ice and off the boards to Chris Kreider. Kreider picks it up in stride. He gains the blue line. He leaves it for Mika Zibanejad. Zibanejad's got the puck. He's driving the left side, and he's got a defender. He kind of draws a defender toward him and then passes back to Miller. Miller's got some space, but he just winds back, blasts a one-timer, and sends it into the net. And just like that, 5-3 Rangers with 23 seconds to go. And they almost scored again at the very end here. Vesey had a stuff-in try with 2 or 3 seconds left in this period, but just an excellent finish to the period for the Rangers here, taking total control. The Bruins, again, they fought back, credit where it's due, but the Rangers always had an answer. They always kind of got back up on their horse and just kept going, and that's been a staple of this Ranger team. Whatever happens, they don't get panicked, they don't get flustered, they just keep playing their game, and they have the confidence and the belief that they're going to come out on top, and I think we saw a prime example of that throughout this sequence here with the Rangers going up 4-3, and then soon thereafter, 5-3. Just great stuff from Jimmy Vesey and K'Andre Miller scoring the goals. So we're going to keep everything rolling in just a second here. I want to talk a little bit about Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick. We had Igor playing on, I'm getting my days all mixed up. See, this goes back to what I was talking about before. But yeah, Igor was playing on Friday against the Flyers, had an excellent game. Jonathan Quick played here Saturday against the Bruins, and his stat line maybe wasn't as impressive as some other stat lines that he's had this year, but nevertheless, I thought Jonathan Quick still played well in this one. We're going to talk about the Ranger netminders in just a second, specifically Quick, and then we'll save Igor for the end of the episode when we talk about the win against the Flyers. So we'll do all that fun stuff in just a second. First, though, definitely want to let everybody know today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need, at all the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, we're going to go ahead and keep everything rolling here. Thank you guys, as always, to the everydayers for supporting the show, and definitely stick around. Thank you, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We're going to be getting into some more fun things this upcoming week. Obviously, the Rangers play on Monday night against the Sabres, and hopefully they can keep it rolling. But whatever happens, obviously, we'll break that down. For right now, though, I want to talk once again about just the Rangers getting excellent goaltending really the entire season. I mean, let's be real here. They split this back-to-back, as a lot of us thought we would. Thought they would. It was really just a matter of which goalie was going to play which game. And of course, Igor plays against the Flyers. He dominates, has an excellent game. Jonathan Quick plays here against the Bruins. Was not, quite as sharp as maybe he's been other times this season. But even saying that, it's not like he was letting in soft goals. Bruins are obviously a great team. I think they earned pretty much everything that they got in this game. It wasn't really the case of, Quick getting a piece of the puck and not letting it in or anything along those lines. This is just a high-scoring game. That's what happens from time to time. So I also thought it was fitting. I do want to mention this too. Henrik Lundqvist was out there to drop the ceremonial first puck with his two daughters. And just very fitting that the Rangers got good goaltending the rest of this back-to-back here after Lundqvist did that. But yeah, Jonathan Quick still undefeated in regulation for the Rangers this season. Now has a record of 6-0-1 in his 7 starts. And even after giving up 4 goals in this game against the Bruins, Jonathan Quick still has a goals against average below 2. Granted, it is right below 2. It's at 1.99 to go along with a .930 save percentage and 2 shutouts. Just a phenomenal start to the season for Jonathan Quick, who has found A, the fountain of youth, and B, the best goaltender coach in the universe. So very good stuff, and typically getting good support from his Ranger teammates as well. And again, he gave up 4 goals on 31 shots. You look at his stat line, it doesn't look very good, but I thought he still made some, really impressive and some very important saves in this game as well. And it was nice to see the Rangers pick up quick by scoring a season-high 7 goals. I've mentioned this before in previous episodes of this podcast. With your backup goalie, you're typically just looking for somebody who goes out there, gives you a chance. You got a chance that if we score 4 goals, we'll win. If we score 3 goals, maybe we'll win, that kind of thing. But Jonathan Quick, he's not just giving the Rangers a chance for the majority of the early parts of the season. He has been one of the biggest reasons why they're winning the games in which he starts. And that's awesome. And it was, again, just really nice to see him. Even though he gave up 4 goals here, the Rangers skater said, you know what? We got your back. You've taken care of us. We'll take care of you. And they end up scoring 7 goals against a team that is one of the better defensive teams in hockey. And I realized they haven't been playing like that recently. I heard the stat today where, the Bruins had allowed 5 or more goals now in 3 of their last 4 games, but that's not really like them. You got to figure they'll eventually figure that out. And regardless, 7 goals is 7 goals. So very impressive and just great that the Rangers once again were able to pick up Jonathan Quick after he's had their back so many times this season. And with this win, I mean, we got to talk about what's going on here because they just keep winning and winning and winning. And it's so much fun to just come on here, hit record, just talk about the latest 2 points that they were able to pocket early in the season here. But I mean, this is getting nuts. The Rangers now 15-3-1. That also includes 13-1-1 in their last 15 games. The first Ranger team to ever get to 15 wins in 19 or fewer games. It's just a phenomenal start to the season for this team. There's no other ways to put it. And you can always critique this or nitpick that, or we'd like this guy to get going, or that guy has to be better 5v5. Look, there's always room for improvement. I think right now the Rangers are living proof of that when they have such a sparkling record. And you still look at them and, hey, there's still a couple of things that they can do better here and there. They're obviously off to a phenomenal start. But that's a great feeling when the team has this good of a record and you feel like maybe they could even play a little bit better than this. That's a team that's going places. And obviously we hope it's it's a storybook ending to this season, but that's a ways away. Something else that I mentioned earlier that I thought was really interesting in this game is both teams use their timeouts in the first period. How often do you see that? Like, I can't remember ever seeing that. And maybe it's happened. I'm not going to remember every single thing that happens in every Rangers season, but I can't really recall that. Obviously, the Rangers got the jump on the Bruins. They were up 2-0 pretty early in this game. The Bruins call a timeout. Then the Bruins strike back. Their first goal was kind of unlucky for the Rangers. I mean, Lindgren kind of got caught pinching. Gustafsson was back trying to pick him up. Gustafsson went sledding across the ice and blocked the pass. But before you knew it, the puck came right back out in front, and the Bruins were able to score from the doorstep. But they got 2 goals very quickly there, and that's when Laviolette called his timeout. I thought these were both good uses of a timeout, and I was kind of thinking, like, after the Bruins had tied it, maybe you hit the timeout if you're Peter Laviolette and the Rangers. I mean, there's so many games where you don't even really need the timeout. You might not even end up using it. This is a good time to just kind of sell them down, get them back into their game, and obviously whatever message was delivered there, the Rangers got it, and they were on their way to a win after this. It was a battle for a while there, and then obviously the Rangers pulled away late. And we also got to give some props to Tyler Pitlick. Bonino gets his first goal of the season, the first goal that the Rangers score in this game, and then Tyler Pitlick scores the 6th goal of the game for the Rangers. It's his first goal as a member of the Rangers, but the fourth line has just been awesome. These last couple of games just swarming, and break down this goal here. We might as well. It's Pitlick's first goal of the season. How can we not? Offensive zone faceoff, just 1 minute and 26 seconds into the third period. And keep in mind, this is right after the Rangers finished the second period hot. So it carried over into the third period. You got Barclay Goodrow winning a faceoff, winning the puck. Vesey takes a shot that is stopped. Goodrow recovers the puck. The puck basically comes loose to Jimmy Vesey, and then Vesey dishes in front to Tyler Pitlick, and Pitlick shoots and scores. That makes it 6-3 in favor of the New York Rangers. And Tyler Pitlick, not a superstar player, obviously, but I said in the beginning of the season, I'll say it now, as somebody that's kind of a 12th or 13th forward, I think he's just fine. He seems to always find a role with this team or that team. Never stays in the same place for very long, but always stays in the league. And somebody mentioned on social media, like, okay, well, what happens when Filip Chytil comes back? Who's going to come out of the lineup? And you figure Chytil will probably be on the third line, I would guess, but he's either going to be on the second line or the third line. At whichever line he does not center, Trocheck will center the other one. So that would push Bonino back down to the fourth line, and it probably pushes Barclay Goodrow to the right wing, and Tyler Pitlick comes out of the lineup. I can't see them scratching Goodrow. I don't even think they should scratch Goodrow. I know sometimes he's a target with that big contract. I don't think that'll happen. I think Bonino's too valuable as a penalty killer. Jimmy Vesey's just played too well in general. So you're kind of running out of options, and I think by process of elimination, it's probably Tyler Pitlick that's going to come out of the lineup. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, in just a second, I want to shift our attention to the game against the Flyers. Definitely looking forward to talking about that as well. We'll do that in just a second here. But first, definitely want to let everybody know today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Chris Kreider could score 50 goals. The New York Rangers could hoist the Stanley Cup. And you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Kreider or Panarin or Mika or Igor will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8-player stats. You heard me, Ranger fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper, so start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you will get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. We also want to let everybody know that Locked On has launched the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel.